American Legion Post 304 for the presentation of colors, as well as American Legion Post 304 Commander John Iacano to do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Senator Kaplan. Sergeant at Arms, advance the flag of our country, the flag of the United States Marine Corps, and the banner of the American Legion Manhasset Post 304. At my command, those covered, hand salute. Those uncovered, hand over heart. Hand salute. Two, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and liberty and justice for all. Cover. Color guard dismissed.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets ring clear, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you for that beautiful rendition by Regan Stone. Next, I'd like to introduce Father Dominic Weigel from the St. Mary's Church to deliver the invocation.
Reminded that he was a bridge to other people. He connected himself to the community, and by that example, showed and became an icon of love. May he be a reminder to us all that we too must also be bridges to others, to build communities not of hatred, but of love, and that we may be also icons of the divine. We ask this in the name of God. Amen.
For a moment of silence for Matt and all of our service members, keeping us safe, and all of the veterans in our community and across the country. Thank you. Please be seated. Jeffrey Stone and the Manhasset Port Washington Kiwanis Club. And I want to thank Dr. Joe Owen and the Manhasset High School String Quartet. Of course, John Iacano and our friends from the American Legion Post 304. Alfonso Piscatelli and our friends from the American Legion 1718. We have with us Matt's brother-in-law, Nicholas Cretor. And I want to give a big, big thank you and shout out to Tom Bezito and Lauren Baronello for helping us putting this event together. And last but not least, she's not here yet. She's joining us. She's caught in traffic. Matt's daughter and son-in-law and granddaughter, Denise, Vincent, and Lauren. They'll be joining us very shortly. So I want to share a little bit of stories with you about Matt. Matt was a giant among us. I got introduced to Matt by a phone call first. I remember being as a councilwoman right here in town of North Hempstead, representing proudly Manhasset. One day, I came to the office, and there was a message for me that was left by Matt telling me how he had heard that the town was not going to put in the flags on Plandome Road on the Memorial Day. And he was so upset about it and did not even know me, but knew that I was the councilwoman and decided that he was going to reach out and tell me how important this is to him and to this community. I called him up and we met, and he explained to me how tight-knit the Manhasset community is and how they take pride in all of their veterans and in their march, and how important it is to have these flags be present. And it was at that time I went to work and made sure that the flags were there, and their flags were there on time. God bless Matt. He believed in things for the community. It wasn't about him. It was first and foremost about the community. He had a big heart. He welcomed everybody. And he wanted to work with anyone to make this community a better place. I was blessed to have known him. I admired Matt because not only he served this country and all of us, and we can't thank all of our service members enough for everything that they've done and all the sacrifices that their families have made for us to enjoy the freedoms that we enjoy in this country, but also for coming back, working hard, and giving back to this community that he called home. Matt was one of those people who, if you called him up and said, Matt, I need your help on something, he would roll his sleeves and he will get to work. And he will ask anybody that could help him in that endeavor. He was very much involved in Manhasset community, in St. Mary's Church, in Kiwanis clubs, and I know he got very involved with me in the town. I remember one time reading a story about a veteran living here in Manhasset who had some disabilities because of his service and needed a place to live. I knew there was a house right here in Manhasset that was not being occupied, that was owned by two gentlemen. I called him up and I said, Matt, I need your help. I would like to go see these two gentlemen and ask them to see if we can get this house for our veteran. And we can raise money and make the house work for this veteran here in our community. Matt got on the phone, got an appointment, told me when and where to be there and to speak to these two gentlemen and see if we could actually encourage them to do that. Regrettably, they didn't agree, but you know what? At least I don't feel bad about not putting that effort and time and making sure that we did everything we could possibly do. Matt was one of those people who never said no. He always looked to find a solution to get to a yes. And for that, may God bless him. And I thank him from bottom of my heart. He was a giant among us. He will be sorely missed. And I will never forget the day that I found out that he was sick in the hospital. And I got his number and I called him. And I felt awful, but he was so happy to hear from me. And I am so sorry as to how we lost him and how we couldn't really celebrate his life when he passed. So this is our way of celebrating his life. Matt was someone who built bridges. And I wanted to find a way to honor him that was larger than life itself. So I thought, how about a bridge in his honor? A bridge is a big thing, but also a bridge is something that brings communities together. And that's what Matt did in this community. And now with this commemoration, each day, thousands of people will pass this symbol of unity and remember him for that. Now I'd like to ask my partner in this effort, Assemblywoman Gina Saletti, to come up to the podium and talk a little bit about our friend Maddie.
Thank you so much. That was wonderful. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Gina Saletti. I'm the New York State Assembly member that represents Manhasset, and I am so honored to be joining everyone today for this beautiful ceremony celebrating the life and achievements of Matthew Falcone, Mr. Manhasset. I want to start off today, though, by thanking all the family and friends that are here today. What an incredible turnout. What a great honor for a great man. It was a privilege to join Senator Kaplan and pass this bill in the Assembly, renaming the Shelter Rock Road Bridge after Maddie. I wish I got a chance to work with him in my official capacity before his passing. Nonetheless, his legacy and the impact on our community are felt every day. This legacy is felt by his family, his friends, and of course our residents. All our lives have been enriched by his service. He was, of course, a proud veteran serving our country as a Lance Corporal in the United States Marine Corps from 1957 until his discharge in 1959. And it's interesting, my father actually served in the Marines during that exact time. And I'd like to think they may have known each other, two young men from Long Island. We have incredible people like Matthew Falcone and the veterans here today to thank for paving the way for our country's progress and of course our freedoms. Professionally, he had this incredible career spanning 65 years as an electrical engineer. I actually met one of his longtime co-workers, working on some of the greatest buildings in New York City. What a life. Now I'll share with you Mr. Falcone's service to our community. So please bear with me, as you know, it is quite long. Known as Mr. Manhasset, it will be evident shortly why he was given this affectionate title. He was a tireless advocate, of course, for the veteran community. He was president of the Marine Corps League. He was a member of the Town of North Hempstead's Veterans Advisory Committee, president of the American Legion Post 304 in Manhasset. He was also an active civic leader, and his leadership positions, and he donated his time and talents to so many organizations in our community: St. Mary's Church, the Manhasset Community Club Union, IBEW Local 3, the Knights of Columbus, Manhasset Public Library, the Kiwanis Club, there's many members here today, and North Hempstead Country Club. You don't get the nickname Mr. Manhasset for nothing. However, I am sure he was more proud of his other names: husband, father, grandfather, brother, uncle, brother-in-law, and of course, dear friend to all. He was truly a role model for all of us, and it is my profound honor to be with you all today as we dedicate this bridge to a truly great man. Thank you.
Next, I would like Supervisor Jennifer DeSena to say a few words.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for coming today. This shows how wide his reach was. All the members of his organizations are here, and I want to also give a shout out to Mr. Brooks, who is someone who is always here, and to Bruce Marsanico. So glad that he's here today. Also want to give a shout out to Wayne Wink, who I'm sure worked with Matt Falcone a lot during his time with North Hempstead. So, I wasn't supervisor when we lost Matt, but I think that he'd be proud of me, one of our own from St. Mary's, and someone from Manhasset to finally make it into town hall. I see a lot of our parishioners from St. Mary's here, and I'm so glad that we're all here together. Matt was at every committee meeting, no matter what ministry there was, no matter what event, fundraiser, Matt was there. He never said no, he never stopped giving, and he inspired a lot of us here. I know he inspired me. When I was forming the St. Vincent de Paul Society at St. Mary's, he came to me and he said, I want you to know my family was helped when I was young by the St. Vincent de Paul Society. And I'm so grateful, and I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that this ministry succeeds at St. Mary's so that we can continue to help people like his family was helped. So, that was Matt, always humble, but so busy and so admired and really inspirational. I was shocked when I heard that he had passed away. And then I was shocked to hear that he was 83 because, he really, he was more vital and more active than a lot of us. And again, never said no to anything. So, it's great that we're here celebrating him today. It was a huge loss, but as I said, he has inspired so many of us to follow in his footsteps of service. And it's fitting that this is also the weekend that we're remembering 9/11, because we come together, we say their names, and we tell them we do not forget, we remain inspired, and we'll continue to work in your names as you did so much when you were with us. So thank you all for coming today. You do Matt and his family a great honor, and Manhasset a great honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Former Supervisor Bosworth would have liked to have been here too, but she had some family event and is sorry that she couldn't be here. And as I said, Councilwoman Veronica Lurby is under the weather, but she did send a statement that I'd like to read to you on her behalf. I am deeply saddened not to be able to join you all in person. I knew Matt Falcone as a dedicated community member who served our country and our community faithfully. I first met Matt through American Legion Post 304, the Kiwanis Club, and the town's Veteran Advisory Committee, and I was privileged to call him a friend. He loved his friends, his fellow veterans, and his country. Most of all, he loved and was so proud of his family. We miss him, and we are privileged to honor him this way. Next, I would like to introduce and invite Marine Corps veteran Bruce Marcianico, forgive me, a good friend of Maddie, to come and say a few words.
Good afternoon, and thank you all very much for coming. I'm sure Matt would be smiling down on us and happy to see what a wonderful turnout we had. And thank you, ladies and father, for making my job so much easier, because you covered most of the highlights. So I might just embellish on a couple. I was asked to speak because Matt and I belong to a number of organizations together and serve together. So I'll just give you a couple of other highlights, and I'll be brief. Matt, and the reason I'm putting these organizations in, it's a chronological order. It's not which one meant more or who was more important or whatever. It was from the time he was very young. Matt was an altar boy in his parish church in Brooklyn. Additionally, he became a squire, which are the young men, youths growing up that would be under age 18, and then when they became 18, they would become full knights. So, all in all added up, I guess, Matt was a Knight of Columbus and served in the church for over 60 years. And, I mean, he even has me beat. So, but there was a lot of things that he did, including he was elevated to the level of a Grand Knight, and he served for a two-year period in Port Washington, the Port Washington Knights of Columbus. He was there for 2 years, and then I guess it got a little convenient, and he moved over to St. Mary's, and he was the Grand Knight in St. Mary's for 2 years as well. And I succeeded him, but there were some things that he did during his reign, if you will. And as Jennifer mentioned earlier, he served on we both did, a Harvest Festival, the Parish Gala. Him and some of the other knights have the basketball free throw, where you don't even have to be a member of the church or of the community for youths to compete and have a basketball free throw conversation. In addition to the tuition assistance program, which we contribute to, and a host of other things that I can't even mention right now. Matt also was one that said, come on, we have to go to this, we have to go to that, and he supported any church or house of worship, regardless it was the Catholic Church, the Lutherans, whatever, whoever had something, a fundraiser, and it was for good, he did that. And they, in turn, responded the same way. As we said, Matt was in the Marine Corps, and one thing I'll never forget him saying is, I love the United States Marine Corps, and I love its principles. And that was a good statement. And I remember once, after his wife passed, there was a conflict that was getting stirred up again in Afghanistan. And he said, you know, they only want to take the young kids. I know I'm too old to go, but I would volunteer gladly and go again. I don't expect to go and serve in full combat, but I can still drive a truck, I can get supplies, I can get the food, I can get metal things, I can get those things there. And he was dead serious. He said, I would do it in a minute. Matt's son-in-law and daughter were laughing because I'm sure they've heard that before, and they would echo those thoughts. And then we went on to the Marine Corps League, which Matt was instrumental after serving as the post commander for, I think, 5.5 years. He gave our detachment, the Father Capodanno Detachment 1471, a place to have our meetings and to call home for now. And also, as I said, he always was on some kind of a committee or some kind of governing board that would make sure that everything was done on a straight and narrow. Until the year before he got sick, every Memorial Day, Matt and amongst the other veterans and members of Post 304 would go along with the Boy Scouts, and they'd go out to Pine Lawn National Cemetery, and they would put an American flag, excuse me, on every grave, and didn't leave until it was done. And since he was getting kind of a little bit approaching middle age, it's not as easy as it used to be, but he would not rest until it was done. Kiwanis. Kiwanis was one of the last groups that Matty got involved in. And again, he did a 2-year term as president there. And we did some really good things together. And there's some things that we do that you people should understand, so at least it's familiar. And you're all welcome to participate. We have a pancake breakfast that comes up in November at Manhasset High School, and the student body participates. We have great breakfasts, as much as you'd like to eat, and we're entertained by the orchestra at Manhasset. So it's a nice way to spend a morning before it gets too cold with your families. And we do a scholarship 5 a year for Port Washington High School, Schreiber, and we just this year added St. Mary's and also Manhasset High School. So that was something that he was always looking out to do and help the young, and he always supported the underdog. I'm coming to the end. The other thing that we do with Kiwanis is something called Taste of the Towns. And I don't know that there's a restaurant, a good restaurant in Long Island that Matt and I haven't eaten in together almost every day. We went out every day for lunch, dinner, and it was an extremely pleasurable experience. So the Taste of the Towns is something where all of the merchants or restaurateurs in Manhasset and Port Washington are invited to participate in displaying their wares. And they would have samples of food and beverages and raffles and 50-50s, and it was really, really good and well celebrated. Unfortunately, for the last 2 years, we haven't been able to do that because of the pandemic, but we're coming back stronger and better. And I think finally, I think that it's an understatement to say that Matt's family was #1 in his books. He loved his family very much. And in addition to his neighbors and friends and acquaintances. Matt was a very, very motivational guy. He was a marshmallow inside. He put up a tough exterior, but he was very, very motivational. And one thing he said, and what we do now, is all of the service organizations that Matt was involved in, he would attend all of the affairs, the fundraisers, all the meetings, whatever we had to do, and was happy to do it. And he instilled in everybody, let's work together. Let's not be in competition. Let's not work against each other. And I think that if we follow those words and work closely and hard with our elected officials and put all nonsense aside, it's going to be clearly to the benefit. We have a beautiful neighborhood, we have a beautiful community, we have a wonderful town, and we have some wonderful leaders. So I beg you to please support them and work together, and we can continue on. God bless Matt. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Denise Sestone, formerly Falcone, and I am Maddie, AKA Mr. Manhasset's daughter. So I walked in and I was like, wow, oh my gosh, like, what a celebration, what a hoopla. And those of you that know my dad would know that he is just eating this up and loving it. So thank you all for that. And our family is so honored to be here with each and every one of you today to celebrate my dad's work, civic work, and this beautiful dedication of the Lance Corporal Matthew A. Falcone Memorial Bridge. I always say Manhasset is an incredibly special community, a wonderful place to grow up, and a beautiful place to live. And that's evident by all of you here today. It really is. Thank you to our wonderful New York State Senator Anna Kaplan and our Assemblywoman Gina Saletti for recognizing my dad's work and the commitment that he has to his veterans through this bridge dedication. My father, again, also loved big celebrations. Anytime there was a reason to celebrate, it could be Groundhog Day, anything. He loved gathering people and he just loved being in community with one another. So he's just enjoying this, and here we are, you know, celebrating him, which is the way I choose to view it. And we're all here in community, and this is what he was mostly about. So a little story, I'll never forget, I was in Florida at the time, and I received a call. I saw Senator Anna Kaplan. I'm like, oh, okay, hello. And Anna said, you know, Denise, I think of your dad every day, and I don't want his work to be forgotten. So I came up with an idea, and I said, you did? Okay. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe it would be a beautiful tree, a beautiful stone with his name on it, a bench. And she says, oh, we would like to dedicate a bridge in his honor. And I said, what? Are you kidding me? A bridge? Really? I mean, that's a pretty big deal, and it's a testament to who he is and, you know, what he's done for people and the community. And another big, I wouldn't feel right standing up here without saying another big thank you to Sabi and her team, who worked tirelessly on all of these festivities, and it was a year plus so in the making. So in closing, what I'd like to say is civic work and supporting New York State Senator Anna Kaplan and Assemblywoman Gina Saletti and our veterans is far from over. This kind of echoes what Bruce was saying. When we join forces, look what we can all accomplish together. And look at the difference that we make in people's lives through all the different programs, scholarship programs, and fundraisers. So let's continue my father's legacy, AKA Mr. Manhasset, by rolling up our sleeves, serving our families, serving our communities, serving our veterans, and serving our country. Thank you.